I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out there.
And there were arguments, there were fights, almost as if you should do what I tell.
There's a lot that I can forgive, but there needs to be conversations and then in order for reconciliation.
Finally, it all caught up to Harry. After years of public pressure, private struggles, and an unrelenting media storm, the Duke of Sussex was reportedly rushed to a California hospital in the middle of the night. The news didn't come with flashing lights or official statements. Instead, it leaked slowly, quietly, just as the world was about to fall asleep. What began as a vague online whisper quickly turned into an international media obsession. What happened behind the gates of the Sussex residence? Where was Meghan when it happened? And most urgently, was Harry okay? For a man who once stood behind the Queen at world events, who commanded armies and defied royal expectations, this moment wasn't about power or titles. It was about something far more human: vulnerability. This wasn't just a medical emergency. This was a turning point, one that could change how the world sees Prince Harry forever. Inside the house, it's believed Harry was alone. Multiple sources confirm Meghan had traveled to New York days earlier for meetings related to her Archetypes podcast and upcoming production deals. Their 2 children, Archie and Lilibet, were being looked after by nannies and security staff, none of whom were seen leaving the premises during the event. According to an insider close to the couple's security team, it was one of Harry's bodyguards who first found him, reportedly slumped on a couch in his private office, pale and unresponsive, but breathing. The immediate response was quiet but urgent. Medical assistance was called. Doors were locked, curtains drawn. There was no sign of external injury, no fall, no accident. This was something internal. A wave, a crash, a moment where the body says, enough. By 3:00 a.m., a leaked screenshot of a dispatch log appeared. The address had been redacted, but eagle-eyed users matched the coordinates with Harry and Meghan's Montecito home. The listed incident? Patient exhibiting signs of acute neurological distress. Transport initiated. Medical evaluation requested. The photo was real. That much became clear when it began disappearing. Entire Reddit threads were wiped. Accounts went dark. Screenshots of screenshots became the only proof it ever existed. As the sun rose over the UK, royal reporters began quiet messages from contacts in California. The whispers had made it across the Atlantic, but no newspaper dared to print them. Not yet. Why? Because this wasn't just gossip. It was legally dangerous territory. Over in the US, outlets like TMZ and People magazine took a different approach. They carefully worded their coverage using phrases like, a potential medical situation involving a high-profile figure with royal ties, and sources close to the individual confirm a brief medical response was requested, with no ongoing threat reported. They never named Harry, but they didn't need to. Back in the UK, things were even more suspicious. The Sun, Daily Mail, The Telegraph, none of them published a headline until nearly 24 hours later. And when they did, it was shockingly tame. Prince Harry cancels appearances following minor health concern. The delay wasn't random. According to royal insiders, lawyers from both sides of the Atlantic had advised caution. No statement from the palace meant no official confirmation, and without it, even the tabloids had to tread lightly. This created a vacuum of information, one that social media quickly filled. Theories ranged from a panic attack to a more serious condition. Others speculated it was a mental health crisis triggered by family stress or an intense buildup of public scrutiny. By the time UK morning shows were airing, X was flooded with hashtags like Pray for Harry, Montecito Incident, and even Where is Meghan, as people began to ask not only what happened, but who was there when it did. For a family famous for carefully curated statements and tightly managed press, the response, or lack thereof, was staggering. There was no press release from the Sussex media team, no tweet, no Instagram story, Not even a leak through their usual sympathetic media channels. Even more surprising was the response from Buckingham Palace. Total silence. Historically, both institutions have rushed to clarify false reports. When Meghan was wrongly accused of wearing a controversial outfit in a 2023 public event, her team issued a statement within 6 hours. When Harry's memoir Spare was leaked early, reps moved immediately to denounce fake excerpts. But this time, not a word. Royal experts speculated that the silence was deliberate, a calculated choice designed to avoid confirming the seriousness of the event. One well-placed source told The Times, "They know the moment they speak, it becomes real. If they stay silent, they leave room for doubt, and that's sometimes the better option." Behind closed doors, however, it was a different story. Security around the Montecito estate was reportedly doubled. Delivery vans were turned away. Outdoor cameras were temporarily disabled. One local contractor, scheduled for maintenance that week, was told to reschedule until further notice. There was also a quiet cancellation of Harry's upcoming commitments. A planned virtual appearance for a veterans' mental health charity was postponed. No reason was given. No alternative date was provided. Insiders claimed Harry was resting under supervision and had been advised to avoid public exposure for several days. Meghan, still in New York at the time, delayed her return by nearly 48 hours, a move that puzzled even her most loyal supporters. Some took this as a sign that the incident, while serious, may not have been life-threatening. Others saw it as a disconnect, an absence that symbolized deeper issues within the couple's relationship. And while Meghan did eventually return to Montecito, her arrival was quiet. No photographers captured it. No media outlet announced it. It was as if she had slipped back into the shadows, unnoticed, unreadable. Adding another layer to the mystery was the behavior of British media outlets. Unlike previous scandals, no royal source appeared to speak off the record. No palace aide dropped a carefully crafted reassurance. And most importantly, no member of the royal family made any comment whatsoever. The silence wasn't just unusual, it was strategic. As one royal commentator explained on Sky News, this wasn't a delay, it was a wall. Everyone was told to stand down. For those paying close attention, that raised an uncomfortable question. Was there something bigger being protected here? Whether it was a privacy decision, a legal move, or simply an attempt to avoid panic, the message was clear. Whatever happened to Prince Harry was real, and they weren't going to talk about it. At just 12 years old, Harry walked behind his mother's coffin with the eyes of the world burning into his back. That image became one of the most iconic photos of the 20th century, and one of the most damaging moments of his life. In interviews, Harry has described it as a moment no child should endure. The grief, the anger, the confusion, it didn't fade. It hardened. And it stayed with him through adolescence, through his military career, and even into his marriage. I didn't process it. I buried it, and it came back later, loudly, he once said. Fast forward to adulthood. Harry grows into a prince constantly under scrutiny. Every expression analyzed. Every romantic relationship dissected. Every misstep plastered across the tabloids. And then came Meghan. The moment their relationship went public, the pressure doubled. Meghan faced racism, character attacks, invasive journalism, and an obvious lack of support from inside the royal institution. By 2020, they had enough. The couple announced their decision to step back from royal duties in a statement that shocked the world and reportedly blindsided the palace. What followed was a media explosion. Tabloid vitriol, royal coldness, public division. Harry had finally broken free, or so it seemed. When Harry and Meghan landed in California, the narrative should have changed, but the pressure followed them. Deals with Netflix and Spotify meant deadlines, scripts, camera crews. The Oprah interview, meant to clarify, only intensified the controversy. Then came Spare, Harry's memoir. He exposed family secrets, internal trauma, and past use. Some praised his honesty. Others accused him of cashing in on pain. One passage stood out. "There are days I can barely breathe under the weight of it all." Between media interviews, parenting 2 young children, working on mental health advocacy, and maintaining their charity foundation, Harry was burning the candle at both ends, and likely from the middle too. Among all the trending topics, one stood out with sharp intensity. #Where is Meghan? The revelation that Meghan was in New York at the time of the emergency sent shockwaves through fan communities and tabloids alike. Some criticized her for not flying back immediately. Others speculated that she had no idea the incident even occurred until much later. When it was confirmed that Meghan remained in New York for nearly 48 hours before quietly returning to Montecito, reactions were mixed. Some defended her. Dr. Alicia Tran, a trauma psychologist who's worked with military veterans and celebrities alike, was one of the first professionals to weigh in publicly. "What people don't understand," she said in an interview on a mental health podcast, "is that trauma has a body timeline. Even if the mind is in control, the body keeps a clock. And when that clock runs out, it doesn't whisper, it screams." According to Dr. Tran, Harry's childhood grief, adult media stress, family estrangement, and recent publishing cycle, Spare, the docuseries, multiple interviews, create a perfect burnout pattern. Add in 2 young kids, global pressure, and a missing spouse during the emergency, and what happens starts to make tragic sense. He likely ignored warning signs, fatigue, racing thoughts, disrupted sleep. Then one night, he just couldn't push it back anymore. So where does that leave Harry? Doctors say that full recovery from a burnout episode or panic collapse requires more than sleep. It requires a total slowdown, emotionally, mentally, physically. For most people, that means stepping away from responsibility. But Harry can't. He's still scheduled for upcoming foundation work, future media projects, and a rumored second memoir installment. He's still the face of mental health advocacy. He's still the modern symbol of breaking away from the crown. And now he's also the man who collapsed under pressure and said nothing. That contradiction will follow him. And unless it's addressed, it could slowly erode the public goodwill he's fought so hard to build. As Dr. Tran notes, recovery is possible, but only if it's real. Only if he stops trying to prove something. Whether you admire Harry or not, one thing is clear. This wasn't a stunt. This was a signal. It's a reminder that even the most visible people can feel invisible in their pain. That fame doesn't prevent breakdown. It often accelerates it. And that sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is collapse. That moment of vulnerability, unseen by cameras but felt around the world, might just be the most honest moment of his public life. And for the millions who followed his journey, that honesty might be the very reason they still care.